Hello, everyone. This is Elizabeth with Scott Leroy Marketing, and welcome to Get the Most Out of Your Open House with Open House Marketing in Command. Today, I'm going to be starting in Mozilla Firefox. We're going to be accessing designs in Command later, and designs works best with Firefox. And we're actually going to be starting at MyKW. So we're going to be going to mykw.kw.com. And we're going to sign in with our username, which of course is not case sensitive, and password, and clicking login. And we're starting out here in MyKW to look at the first of 5 ways we suggest marketing your open house. And then I'm also going to give you 3 little bonus tips that you can learn about after class. So first, we're going to head to the very top menu, the black bar at the top, and hover over Technology and click KWLS. Now this is going to pop up in an outside window, another window. And this is, of course, the original KWLS. There is a KWLS 2.0 in Command that you can search for listings, but here is where you can manage and edit, and of course, create green sheets if you need to still do that. But also, this platform is what syndicates to all of the third-party websites like Zillow, Trulia, etc. So if you are the listing agent, you can come here, and we're just going to click All in the top menu. And you'll be able to see all of your listings here. And to select one, you would click the MLS ID, the blue link on the left-hand side. And that brings up the details of this listing. Next, we'll click the Open Houses menu item in the red bar towards the top of the page. And here is where you can select a date, start time, and end time to create your open house. So I'm going to select actually next weekend, April 10th. And then once you've selected the date, you can click the little X to close. Start time, noon's good, 1 p.m. I'm going to change it. And end time, let's do just a few hours here. And then to add that, you would click the blue button, Add. You'll then see right underneath the current dates that shows here. And then, of course, if you need to remove it, let's say you entered the wrong date or wrong time, you can click the little red X underneath the Remove column. And that syndicates out to Zillow and Trulia overnight. I will also say if you have more than one day, so let's say you're doing a Saturday and a Sunday, you do want to add those records separately, even if they are the same time. So if you wanted to do the Sunday, you would then click through and find the Sunday, which in this case is the 11th. And again, this does have to be your listing in order to find it in KWLS. So if it is not your listing, feel free to ask the listing agent to go into their KWLS and add their open house here themselves. In some MLSs, there is an option to add the open house there, within the MLS, but that may not feed to Zillow and Trulia. You are more than welcome to add that open house in MLS, but we do highly recommend adding it here in KWLS to syndicate to Zillow and Trulia specifically. So the second way to market your open house, let's close out of KWLS and head over to command. You can do so by clicking this command login in the top center of my KW. This will open up a new tab, which takes you to agent.kw.com. So if you just want to enter in that website, you can. This class is recorded. It'll be online on our website at slmtraining.com later today, and also on our YouTube channel, which I'll go over later. But that's simply youtube.com/Scott Leroy Marketing. So we're going to log into command here, and this time I'm going to use my profile. I just used another agent's profile to log into my KW because I don't have any listings myself. But same username, same password. Again, username is not case sensitive. And of course, password is. And click sign in. All right. As a second way to market your open house, let's head over to the consumer applet on the left-hand side. While you're still learning these applet names, feel free to click the red square with the white KW in the top left corner to expand the name of the applets. And consumer is the very last one. It's the icon with a couple of web pages stacked here. If you are not able to see this though, you may be zoomed in too far. So you can scroll out or zoom out, excuse me, by pressing and holding Control on your keyboard and using the plus or minus keys, or even the scroll bar. But let's click Consumer. Next step, let's click Create a New Site or a new page in the top right corner, the big blue button. And select as a landing page. This is going to create a standalone page that's outside of your website, your Command IDX website, which is going to be a one-page website, basically. And then click Create Page. So first things first, I always suggest to rename your page. So I'm going to name it OH, which stands for Open House, and then the address. And then over here on the right-hand side, you're going to see the list of all the widgets that are available. And I'm just simply going to click and hold and drag to the left to the workspace. And you'll see this green bar appears. That's where this widget is going to be put. And right now, since this is the first one, it's going to be put at the very top of the page, which is good for me. And release, and that widget will appear. Next, I'm going to do the same thing for the next widget, the lead form. So I'm going to hover over lead form, click and hold and drag. And again, you'll see the green bar appear, except this time, wherever you move your mouse is where it will appear. So I want it under the branded header. So where the green bar is good to go, I can release my mouse And there pops the lead form. I'm going to repeat the process with the listing widget. Hover over listing, click and hold and drag, and green bar is under lead form, and release. You'll see that widget appears, and this is quite a long one, so I'm going to scroll down. And last but not least, I'm going to use the legal footer widget. Hover, click, hold, drag, and you'll see that green bar snaps to the bottom. And release. Let's close out of this little banner so you can see the legal footer correctly. All right, now that we have all of our widgets that we want, of course, feel free to add different ones if you'd like the testimonial capture or the download my app, feel free. But these are the 4 that we suggest to keep it nice and clean. We're going to click Configure Widgets down in the bottom right corner. And you'll see you must configure your widgets below to publish this landing page. So right now, if we wanted to publish, we wouldn't be able to because this listing one has to be configured, which is good that it's letting us know because this is just the default 300 hilltop view in Austin, Texas. So we want to make it match our listing. So I'm going to first click the branded header. Of course, you can see this is how you can edit the branded header widget. So for the header text, I'm going to enter open house and the address. And you are limited to 30 characters, so I'm going to keep it nice and simple with just the street address, no city or state. If you need to edit your headshot, name, phone, email, team logo, you can from here. But this is all pulling from the marketing profile in your command settings. So once you're good with all of this info, I'm going to click the little right facing arrow in the top right corner to go to the next widget. In fact, I'm going to go back and save first because it didn't look like that applied. So back in the first widget, the branded header, enter my header text again, click save and apply. There we go. See the green banner saying it was successful. Now let's head over to the second widget, the lead form. And since this is for an open house, we highly suggest changing this form header text. And we suggest saying open house, sign in. That way you can have your laptop or tablet open to this landing page at your open house. And each person that walks in, you can collect their information, act as a sign-in, and save and apply. And that is actually the only field that is editable on this widget. The first name, last name, email, phone, and leave a note are all defaults and cannot be changed. So we also suggest the leave a note, they can just put a space, they can put the address, they can put maybe how they found this open house, whether it be from signage or a Facebook ad, which we'll go over later, or Zillow, Trulia, etc. All right, and we're going to click to the next widget, the right-facing arrow in the top right corner to head to listing. And we're going to replace the default listing with our listing. So click Browse Listings, and you'll see KWLS 2.0 pops out from the right side here. And you have a couple of different ways to search for your listing. You have property address by default, but you can also use the MLS number or even the KWLS ID. So I'm going to leave it at the property address for now and search for the listing. And then click search over in the top right. You would get people to use this as a sign-in by having some sort of electronic device, your laptop or a tablet at the front of your open house so that they could fill it out as they walk in. So here's our listing here, the very first one. So I'm going to click select. And you'll see from here all the pictures pull in. If you need to change your listing, for instance, if you accidentally clicked the wrong one, you can do so here. You can also upload the custom image. So if you have a different image, or let's say you have a specific one you're using for the open house, you can do so here by just toggling to custom image, clicking or dropping here to select that picture. But for ease and this class, I'm going to leave it at from listing. And I'm going to select the very first one, just the front of the house. And then save and apply. And once we do that, you'll see not only does that picture populate, but all of the address information, house information, all of that pulls in. And then I'm going to toggle to the very last widget with the right-facing arrow in the top right corner. And just make sure all of this information is good to go. Nothing's been updated. Again, this is all pulling from the marketing profile in command settings. And if you can't scroll down any further, feel free to zoom out like I just did. Again, pressing and holding the control key on your keyboard. And I use my little scroll ball on my mouse. But you can also hit the plus or minus button on your keyboard. And that all looks good to go. So I'm going to click Save and Apply. And once all of my widgets are configured, I can click this left arrow next to the legal footer widget name to see all of my widgets listed out, and they all have green check marks. So I'm going to click Done. And here is the landing page in its entirety. This will definitely work if you're holding open houses for other agents. The one piece that you will have to change, though, is this listing widget, especially if the listing's not in KWLS yet. But if you go down to the bottom right corner and see this content blocks, you can pop that open. And here's where the image and text blocks are. So you can add in as many images as you want or any text that you want if the listing is not in KWLS. And correct, this landing page is a website, so there would need to be an internet connection at the open house. So once you're satisfied with this landing page, you have a couple of options. You can simply save or you can publish. So I'm going to click Publish, the blue button in the top right corner. Would you like to publish this as a landing page? This will make it visible to others. Click Yes. And you'll be taken back to your consumer applet. You'll see it defaults you to the agent site pages. So we're going to tab over to the landing pages. It's the second option, in the white menu along the top, and you'll see our landing page here, Open House 706 Cantor, and the URL. And this URL is pretty daunting. So let's go over to the right-hand side to the little meatball menu, which is the 3 dots. And if you click that, it'll drop down a menu, and you have a few options here. This is where you can either edit that page. For instance, if you wanted to add another widget or remove a widget or, fix a typo or something. The second option is to change the URL. So I'm going to select that. Your custom URL will always start with pages.kw.com/your name/your KWU ID, your Keller Williams University identification. But after that slash, you can edit the end of it. And I like to use the address, but you can use dashes as well, just like any website. And click Create. And you'll see that changes, and you see the green banner saying Success. So going back to that meatball menu on the right-hand side, you'll also see now you have another option for removing the custom URL. Here's where you can deactivate it and delete. One little tip with this, we just created this to be an open house sign-in, but you can also post this link to your Facebook page to use as a landing page to collect leads for this listing. And again, I'll be going over a Facebook ad here shortly and how to connect that landing page to that ad. As a second tip or our kind of bonus, how to market an open house, number 1, this page can also be added to your Keller Williams Command website, your IDX site. In that case, you would have to iframe this URL, and that's a whole process in itself. So I'm going to head over to YouTube, and I've already pre-searched for this video here, how to add a featured listing to your KW IDX site. So I'm just going to copy this URL and paste it in the chat for you. And again, that's how you can iframe this landing page and put it on your Command IDX site. So item number 3 on how to market your open house, we're going to add this listing to our featured listings on our Command website. So I'm going to head over to Site and App Settings, again in the white menu along the top on the far right, and click that. And it takes us to some of the features that can be edited on our website. So you'll see it defaults me to the General tab, but I'm going to hop over to the Featured Listings tab in the middle of the page, the third tab over. And you'll see a few settings here to configure your featured listings. So first things first, featured listings header text. I'm going to enter the text that I would like to appear above my featured listings carousel. There is a limit of 100 characters, so keep it pretty short and sweet, but it will be in one line of text across your featured listings. Once you've got that entered, the second section is to select your listings. You may select up to 12 listings, and you do have to have the address to select these. So if you just wanted to add, 12 from your office or, 12 of the newest ones, you would have to find out those addresses prior to selecting them. And at this time, this is totally manual. You do have to select the listings yourself. There is no way to automate it and have, the 12 most recent ones on there. So we're going to click Select Listings. And this should look familiar. This is KWLS 2.0 popping out from the right-hand side. Again, it defaults you to search by the property address, but you can change that to MLS number, city, or zip. But I'm going to keep it at property address and search for the listing. And then once I have my address entered, I'm going to toggle from my listings to all listings. So whether or not that is actually your listing or the listing you're just marketing, you can see all listings in KWLS 2.0, as Keller Williams now has the national IDX. All right, so I'm going to find my listing here. Maybe if I narrow it, the address down a little bit more. And this option here does only show active listings. That's actually why I'm not able to find it, because this is already pending. So you do want to make sure you get in here early enough to add it to your website. For the time being, I'm just going to select this listing to show you what it looks like on our websites. So I'm going to click the select, and you'll see it highlights it blue. And then click done. Again, you can select up to 12, so it's going to count it down for you here in the bottom left. Click done, and you'll see it immediately pops it here. And if you had more than one, let's add another one to show you. You can use the 6 dots on the left-hand side to click and drag and release to reorder how you want these to be seen. And then you'll see the little trash can icon on the right-hand side. This is where you can click to remove once these listings have gone pending or off market in any way. So now let's go to our website so you can see those in action. I'm going to toggle over to the agent site pages at the top in the white menu and click my website. And I'm going to scroll down here past the search, past the lead form. Oh, and that's not appearing. Let me refresh real quick. Nope, not yet. Let's go back to site and app settings and make sure. Oh, I didn't save. I'm sorry. Let me add that again so you can see. Select, done. So don't forget to save in that bottom left corner. Now we're gonna flip back over to my website and refresh. Okay, past the search, and that's still not working. Let me try closing that again. I may need to let KW support know. Yep, so once you save those changes, you should see it here on your home page. Again, with the header text that we added, it'll look similar to this interested, let's talk. But yeah, it looks like that's not working at this time. So I'm going to let KW support know. In the meantime, we're going to move on to item number 4, which is to create a marketing piece. So again, started out in Mozilla Firefox because we're going to head to designs. And designs works best with Firefox from what we've found. Designs is the little square with the paintbrush icon in the left-hand menu. When in doubt, feel free to click the red square to expand the names and click Designs. Of course, if you're having any trouble on your end, or if you think of any questions, feel free to pop it in the chat here today, but you can also shoot us an email and we can help you out individually. So from Designs, I'm going to click the big blue plus sign in the bottom right corner. And we're going to create a flyer today. So I'm going to go to the print icon here. You can also check this box to import photos and text from a listing. I'm actually going to show you brand assets first, which kind of cancels this out. So I'm not going to check it here today. But if you already have your brand assets set up or you're watching this video in the future, feel free to check this box. Yep, this session will be recorded or is being recorded, and you can go back and watch from our website, slmtraining.com, or our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/ScottLeroy Marketing. So once we've selected what kind of design we want, print, we'll click Next. And that'll take us over to the WeBrand editor. You are able to browse the available designs without creating one. You would just simply pick which type you would like to browse because clicking print takes you into all the print designs and clicking social takes you to the social designs. So they are each their own library, but by simply following those steps that we just did, it'll take you to browse all of them first. So once we're here in the editor, like I said, I'm going to take you to brand assets first to make sure this is all set up for you. So I'm going to click brand assets in the very top menu along the top. It's the third option over. And here you'll see it defaults you to the first option, colors and fonts. Here's where you can choose a color palette if you have, for your branding, specific colors. We like the red, gray, and black, but if you have, yellow or orange or anything, you can add your palette here. You can also upload fonts if you have a specific font for your branding. Clicking the next section, logos, here is where you can add not only your Market Center logo, but also your team logo. And you'll see I have all of the different colors of my office logo, so I can use it on different designs. Next section is Smart Text. This is going to be the different fields that you have access to. There's a question asking if you're allowed to do an open house for a house that isn't your listing. For that, we defer to your broker. So check with your broker, or really any of your office staff. They would know the answer to or be able to get a hold of your broker on your behalf. But since every office is different, feel free to check with them to see if that is allowed. Um, at my office, it is, so that's why I'm using someone else's at this time for the example. But yeah, just check. Different states have different requirements and everything, so check in with them. Next section is images. Here's where we suggest uploading your headshot. Next section is elements. These are things kind of like clip art or stickers. So if you had any specific elements, you could upload them here. The not only Keller Williams logos, but the Market Center logos are created by Keller Williams. So if you need help finding those, feel free to visit MyKW or specifically KW Connect in the marketing section, and you can pull your office's whole suite of logos with all those different colors straight from there. Next section, you can also upload any videos that you frequently use. And last section, any files. So we highly suggest going in here and uploading, specifically your Market Center logo, your team logo, your headshot beforehand so that it can easily populate throughout all of your designs. But once you have them uploaded the first time, you won't ever have to upload them again. So now we're going to pop over to the Templates tab at the very top and take us back to where we originally were when entering the WeBrand editor. And again, it defaults you to the first option here on the left. So I'm going to venture to the listings category and click the arrow to drop down that menu. And then click Open House, since that's what we're marketing for today. And then click Flyers. And this is the letter, the 8.5 by 11 size. And I'm going to choose my design that I'd like, hover, and then click the red Use button. So now that we have our flyer, we can head over to the KWLS icon on the left-hand menu. And since we skipped importing the pictures and text from a listing at the very beginning, here's how we can attach it now. So again, you can search by address, MLS number, KWLS ID, listing agent, or co-listing agent. But I'm going to keep it at listing address and enter the address. And hit enter to apply. And that is the first one that pops up here. Once you find your listing, click select, and you'll see all of the photos come in. And then I'm going to tab over and click listing details, and all of the different fields of the listing details comes in. So now we can start creating our flyer here. Starting from the very top, open house, looks good. The date, I can double click to change this. And then I can change the time. Looks good. Next is the address. So I click to highlight. And then over here in the listing details, I find the address right here. And I'm going to click the two arrows that form a circle to replace. And you'll see that replaces the old text immediately. Now this does not add the state, so if you need to, you can double click to edit. Oops. There we go, looks good. Next, the huge picture, the main picture. I'm going to toggle back over to photos, and you can select any picture you wish. I'm just going to use the front of the house. And again, the two arrows that form a circle to replace. And that replaces it immediately. Oh, and you see once it loads, it kind of messes it up. And this has been ongoing, so I'm going to let KW support know about that as well. In the meantime, I'm going to click undo. Nope, it won't even let me do that. Let's drag and drop and see if that sticks. Nope. Okay. And then last but not least, I'm going to go back over to images, add, and here's where I can upload from my computer. It's going to be in my downloads to import an image. And once that loads, I can again click and drag. And it looks like that one's sticking. Perfect. So when picking pictures from the KWLS, you may want to simply download those to your computer and import them manually in order for them to stick at this time. If you need to reposition this picture, just simply click and highlight it blue. And then you can click the reposition icon. I'm going to drag it down just a little bit here and click done. Next is going to be all of the property information. I'm going to zoom in using the plus sign in the bottom right corner. And I'm going to head back over to the KWLS tab. And the listing details. Now, since all of this information is in one field, I can't simply replace, but what I can do is reference the fields on the left. So 3-bed is correct. Looks like there's actually 3 baths, so I'm going to double click to edit and delete and replace. Square footage is 1833. Listed at, so the price, I can replace that. Year built, replace that. Looks good. Let's tab over back to the photos and select some photos to pop in here. Again, you can click to highlight and replace, or click and drag over, or manually import. And yep, looks like manually importing is going to be the way to go on these as well. Next is the description. So I'm going to click to select, go over to the listing details tab, find the property description, which I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see that it's the very last field here. I'm going to click replace. If you need to move any of the fields, you can by simply clicking and dragging. You can also resize by clicking on the white barriers here. There we go. And last but not least, my information down here. So I'm going to click the headshot And I'm actually going to go up to the images section and my assets. And here's where we would find what we uploaded in brand assets. There we go. And we can replace our name. That's going to be in the text, so the smart text that we added in our brand assets earlier. Okay. And again, since this field is combined, let me zoom in to show you, we can't manually replace here. And you'll see once I do, it'll replace not only the phone number, but also the email and address that were here. So just double click to edit that one. And last but not least, the logo. And you can also use the directional keys on your keyboard to simply move an icon or an image if you want to keep it in line with where it was originally. So once we have our flyer all complete here, I'm going to zoom out for you. We're going to rename in the top right of the design. And I'm going to keep everything the same here so I know what is all referring to. So I'm going to name it OH for Open House, 706 Cantor Street. And then I'm going to download. You have a couple options here. You can either leave it on the JPEG, which can be used for Facebook or even an email if you want a mass email. Or you can toggle over to the Get PDF, which is ideal for printing. So if you wanted to print out a bunch of flyers, toggle over to Get PDF, change the selection to the high resolution, print quality, and click Start Download. At this time, KWRI is working on the ability to print from command, but for now, you would just simply download it as a PDF and either use your office's printer, a printer in your own home, or even, FedEx, Staples, Office Depot, anyone like that. The next little bonus tip, which again, I won't go over today, but we do have a tip video over, is how to schedule out Facebook posts. And scheduling out Facebook posts is the free option in campaigns. So I'm going to select this URL and paste it in the chat in case you would like to take advantage of that at a later point. Feel free. But for now, I'm going to click Done in Command to head back. And then we're going to click Campaigns, which is the little megaphone here. Again, you can always expand the names and click Campaigns. And here's where you'll find that social posts to schedule a post for a future date. But today I'm going to show you a little bit about creating a paid ad or a sponsored ad. So we're going to click Create a New Campaign in the top right corner. Click Social Ad. And we're just going to go through and fill in all the fields here. Again, I'm going to keep this the same name as everything else we've done today. And our goal is to advertise a listing. Today I'm showing you how to run it on Facebook, but you can also run it on Instagram and Twitter, and click Setup Campaign. And Facebook and Twitter are the ones I have connected within my marketing profile in Command. So if you have any others connected, you would show them there. Or if you don't have those connected, they wouldn't show there. All right, and that's taking a little bit longer to preview that image, so I'm going to close that out. And it prompts you to search for the property address. Again, this should look familiar. I'm going to toggle all listings and search. And again, it's not shown here, so I'm just going to select one to show you for this example. If any of the images are not the appropriate size, it'll bring up this preview and crop image section. So it works to optimize that image there. This will also pull all of the description in, if there is one, from KWLS. If there's not, you can always copy and paste or simply type in. For the headline, what you'll want to do is, the headline is going to be the bold text here on the right. So what we suggest is typing in open house and address. Headlines over 40 characters may be cut off, so you want to keep it short and sweet as well. But ultimately, you have a limit of 100 characters. Next is the description. There are a few suggestions here, so you can shuffle through by clicking the shuffle at the top right of that field. And if you like one of their suggestions, you can click Use Suggestion. Once this section is complete, you'll see the green check mark, and you'll click Save Add Text and configure the next section. You'll see it pulls the image. You can also add video or more images. You can either click to find your Market Center's DBA logo here. This actually takes you to the spot in KW Connect that I mentioned earlier to find your office logo that Keller Williams has created for you. You can also drag and drop or browse for your logo, where you want it to be positioned on your ad. And they'll be at the bottom, it's just on the left or right side. You can check to include your ownership statement if you wish. And once all that is good to your liking, you would click Save Add Media. And of course, that's required, but at this time, for time's sake, I'm just going to skip over that. We do have an hour-long class on how to create a paid ad. If you search our YouTube channel for Facebook Ads 101, I go into all sorts of detail about all of these different fields and the, the requirements of them and all the suggestions that we have. The next section for Facebook ad is where you would find your account and your page. This must already be connected in your settings. We highly suggest using the lead generation form provided by Facebook. But here's where you can also use the landing page that we created earlier by just simply clicking, and it adds it there. Step number 3 is ad targeting. Again, I go over more of this in detail in the hour-long class. Next section, duration and budget. There is a minimum requirement of $1 per day. We suggest at least a week, which is why I put this open house, not this weekend, but next. Keller Williams suggests 10 days. So you can change your dates here. And this is running until the Friday before the open house, but if you wanted to extend it a little bit, you could. Change your budget here. Once you're happy with that, click Save Duration and Budget. You should see all green check marks along this left side. And once you do, you're able to publish. At this time, I'm just going to click Save as Draft because that logo wasn't working, but I also don't really want to publish this. Are you sure? Yes. And of course, when creating this ad, you are required to have a business page already created in Facebook. But again, all of those details are in my Facebook Ads 101 class. The very last tip I have for you is using campaigns, which we're in, and emails to bulk send an email to your database, to your contacts in command. We do also have a full video on that. It's our command tip utilizing the new email campaign templates. I'm going to pop that into the chat as well. So feel free to give that a watch if you need another trick to market your open house. Here is our YouTube channel. This is what it'll look like. Again, that's youtube.com/ScottLeroy Marketing, where you can find all of our videos, including this one and the 3 that I posted in the chat. This handy dandy search feature here in the middle is how you can search just our videos for those keywords. But of course, if I didn't answer your question today or you have any in the future, just contact us. You can send us an email and we'd be happy to help out. Of course, thank you for joining and hope you have a wonderful day.